Hello, and welcome to the Wade Borth podcast. I'm your host, Wade Borth, and in every episode, my goal is to get you to think differently about how money works and ultimately to empower you to take control of your money and your personal financing system. Hello, and welcome back to the Wade Borth podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the uncertainty of what the future brings. So I'm recording this just at the start of the 2024 year. And there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of hand-wringing, a lot of people just not knowing where the future is going to go. And what does that all mean? I mean, it's interesting. I think about it from the perspective of what is it I do, right? And what is it I'm trying to accomplish? And I'm trying to accomplish with my clients and really with teaching agents that what we do is we bring a little bit more certainty to people's financial world and really to their family area and their family circle as well as their business, spiritual, really all the 5 areas that we bring a lot more certainty to. But we're going to focus a little bit more on just the emotional side of, and I'm just going to pick on interest rates right now, because quite frankly, that's the topic. Here's the roller coaster we've been on. We've been on a roller coaster of interest rates going up, interest rates going down. And where's that taking us? So you have to kind of stay ahead of it because everybody thinks interest rates are still on the rise. But what we're seeing, again, just depends on who you're talking to, is now we're starting to see interest rates kind of come back down because of where the economy is at. And I've heard this from other people. It's like, why should I put my money in a whole life policy when I can go out and I can buy a CD for really 4 or 5%, something along that lines, or a money market rate for that yield? But it's not really about the yield. It's about the certainty, and it's about the time and consistency of having my money there earning a consistent rate. Because what does the future bring? And what I mean by that is, I'm on a mailing list, and there's a lot of companies out there saying, hey, sell our annuities or get people to buy these CDs. Our rates are up today. And now I just got one today that says, hey, the rates are going to be dropping. Hurry up and lock in. And so it's always this rush and always this uncertainty to rush and go do something because the interest rate is going to change. Same thing with mortgage rates. They're on the rise. So people like lock it in now. They got up there where people thought they were high, and now they're back down, so people aren't wanting necessarily finance, so they're waiting. So I'm talking to my people in the mortgage business, and there's a lot of uncertainty there going on because of where rates are going. It's all short-term thinking. It's all about thinking what is exactly going on today and what's going to happen the next 2, 3, 5 weeks from now, versus thinking what's going to happen 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now. And that's where the excitement of what we do comes into play. Because I heard somebody say it again, why should I put my money in a whole life policy? I can do quote unquote better because I can get a CD for 1 year at 5%. Hey, that's great. Because again, we're not talking rates. It's not the yield that's important. It's just the environment that we're putting our dollars in. Because when we save money, when we put money away, where are we putting it is one of the most important things to be asking. And so, because where were these rates 2 years ago? Heck, where were these rates a year ago? Come to think of it, 18 months ago. Gosh, and all of a sudden they're here, but they can be quickly gone tomorrow. We're starting to see that already. The interest rates starting to dip back down, especially where people are saving their dollars. And so it isn't so much what I can do for you today. It's what can I do for you for the rest of your life. And that's the real important part, is that when I'm putting my money in my policy and I'm saving dollars inside of my policy, it's not so much about the rate of return there. It's about the consistency and the certainty of what that's going to do for me over the next, say, 50 years, for example. And they're going to follow the interest rates. There's no doubt about it. But it's not like this rush, because that always brings anxiety where we're rushing to do something because we're fearful of missing out. Like, hurry up and get this rate locked in today before it goes down, or hurry up and get this rate before this mortgage rate goes up, or whatever it might be. There's a lot of anxiety that goes around there. When you have anxiety, it's tough to make good financial decisions. And so what do we bring? We bring some certainty, so it helps you make better financial decisions with your money. You're not having to be concerned about, oh, I got to chase this rate, or I got to lock this in before something else happens. So when you have that certainty of your money being there, is it going to be the highest rate? No, maybe not. Over time, probably so. It's hard to beat when you look at all the other benefits that go along with your whole life policy. Is it immediately the highest rate? No, I can always find something that's always a little bit better. There's always a lead horse out there that's going to be just a little bit better. But what happens over the whole length of the race is what's the most important thing. And if you think about it from a racetrack perspective, that horse that comes out of the gate fast is exciting to watch for the first quarter of the race until it fades away to it's not even being talked about at the end. That's really what we're talking about. It's that horse that can come out, can be where it needs to be, and at the end, at the finish line, it's right there, giving the opportunity to win that race. So what are we talking about today? We're just talking about having some certainty in your life, having some certainty in your financial future, looking at the product that we're talking about, which is whole life insurance, and giving certainty to your family. In the event that you die early, and again, we're all going to die, so it's going to happen. It's going to be paid out, guaranteed to be paid out. That's one of the fundamental parts of this policy that we're talking about, and this concept and strategy is this wealth transfer, this not even wealth transfer. It's like cash is available that day when you need it. So that's going to happen whenever that is, guaranteed. There's no 20 years, 10 years. There's no timestamp on your life. It's whenever you need it. And at that time, that's when it's going to be paid. So it's like guaranteed of a death benefit. That brings that certainty to your family. Is it tomorrow or is it 50 years from now? We don't know. That's not within our control. Some of it is, but it's not within our control. So what other certainty are we looking for? So we look at that for the family areas that we want that certainty for our family. From an occupation, for a financial side of it, it gives us certainty that we have dollars set aside to be put to work when there's all kinds of uncertainty going on. Think about what might happen 6, 8, 10 months from now when who knows where interest rates are going to be at, who knows where property prices are going to be at, who knows where the economy is going to be at. Another thing I was listening to is like, we're hitting record highs on the stock market right at the end of the year. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great until the real traders come in and say, oh, this is overvalued, and all of a sudden take all that value away from you almost overnight. If that happens, right? I don't know, how to what extent that'll happen, but it happens quite often. And also now, what you thought was a good deal turns out not to be because you didn't take advantage of cashing in when it was high, right? But how do you know? You have to make so many right decisions, and there's so much uncertainty around that. It brings that anxiety back again. So I'm not saying don't invest, don't put money in the stock market. It's not what I'm saying. Is like understanding that when you have the majority of your money in savings or into an asset that generates cash flow, it creates a tremendous amount of certainty, which reduces your anxiety, reduces the noise level in your life. And so we're not having to chase or we're not having to react because some outside entity is changing the environment in our where money is being held, such as a money market or a CD, or if I'm investing in real estate, it's changing a rate right there. So that's kind of the even keel that we're looking for. And the only product that I know of that has the guarantees that go along with that is like, it's going to give you, I would call it a high rate of return compared to everything else that's out there on a consistent basis. And that's really what we're looking for, some consistency, some certainty in our lives that we can build upon. Because we have so many other areas that are very inconsistent and have a lot of uncertainty. So let's build that piece first. And again, we've talked about that in the previous podcast. If you haven't heard, go out to sagewealthstrategy.com or Spotify, listen to the previous podcast, the Wade Borth podcast. And we talk about the sequence of where you want to start building your dollars at, where you want to start saving versus kind of having this be a haphazard. There has to be a sequence to it. But anyhow, I just want to leave you with that thought is that what are we trying to solve for? And we're trying to solve for this uncertainty and bring you some consistency in your life, something you can build around. And we have guarantees that no other product has. We have guarantees that your family will be taken care of when you die. We have guarantees that your money is going to grow every month inside your policies, paying your premiums. And we have guarantees that it's never going to go backwards, right? So all these things are the things we're looking for, but we've been kind of conditioned to think, oh, I can't go there because for some reason they want me caught up in this rat race of looking at where's the interest rate or where's the IUL cap rate or where's the participation rate. And that's all based on where interest rates go. And so those change every day. I guess what I'm saying is that let's find some calmness. I guess maybe calmness is the word I'm looking for. Let's put some calmness in our financial world. And when we have that calmness, we can kind of see things for what they really are. We can get some vision where we want to go versus having to react. It's like the difference between being out on the ocean when it's calm versus when it's during a hurricane, when all you're trying to do is survive versus let's track a course to where we want to go. And that's what that certainty brings, is the ability to track a course to where you want to go versus being out on that ocean that's stormy and the waves are coming over the top of the bow, the front of the bow. And all we're trying to do is survive. But let's get out of that survival mode and let's get into the thriving mode, because I think that's really where everybody wants to get to. but you can't do that when you live in constant noise. Let's find some certainty and some calmness in your financial world. So then we can start planning. You can do it with a sense of, okay, I know where we're going because I'm not having just to bucket out the ship all the time. So anyhow, I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon. Again, hop on to sagewealthstrategy.com. Love to hear your comments, feedback on this podcast. Hope you continue to listen. We have some exciting things coming up in 24. And so, again, just encourage you to keep listening. Until then, we'll talk to you soon. If you're enjoying this podcast or know anyone else that might be interested, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and please leave a review. This will help this podcast reach and help more people by ranking higher in searches and ultimately help more people get out of financial bondage. And don't be afraid to share this podcast with your friends and family, as we can be easily found on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.